Are you ready to take your ministry in a new direction? Are you ready to explore new innovative ways to carry the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world? Have you ever thought about having a television ministry? Were you reluctant because of pricing? Did it seem too costly for your ministry? If I told you that television is affordable, and that there is a solution within your budget, would you be interested? There is an affordable solution for your ministry. It's Clarity IBN. Clarity is an affordable option for you to be on television. You can reach the world for Jesus, without breaking your budget. Go now. Go to clarityibn.org. Fill out the contact form, and a representative from Clarity IBN will email you on how you can be on television, affordably. Don't wait, don't procrastinate. Do it now. Go to clarityibn.org and get started.
Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Moment of Truth. Harold G. Dakis Jr. All right, we are live here in studio for our Friday night weekly wrap-up. Thank you all for joining. And this is, as I stated, the Friday night live at 5 weekly wrap-up. And we are studying the book of Proverbs, the wisdom of life. And we are in chapter 11 of the 31 chapters. So we got 20 more to go when we're done with this. But thank God that we are still here. Pastor Samuel is joining us now. Welcome, Pastor Samuel. We got a few people that may be absent tonight. Let me turn off this notification. One of our committed students is traveling, and then one of our hosts is on the road. Talked to them earlier. They were going through San Antonio, so they should be in Louisiana by tomorrow. So we pray traveling grace and mercy for Bishop Elsie and also for the Milliken sisters and Mother Milliken, who are on their way to San Antonio, Texas. So everybody praying that they all have safe travel and traveling grace on their journey. So Bishop said if he got a good signal, he would join us, but I told him don't stress himself because he's on the road. Of course, now it's dark, so they've been stopping and getting a hotel and resting for the night. So, but I think I have a pretty able and capable co-host here tonight who can pick up the slack. So when I need to pass the ball, I can throw a lateral or throw a long bomb to Pastor Samuel, and he'll take it on in for me. So anyway, we're dealing with Proverbs, and this week we talked about the spirit of giving and how it affected the outcome of one's life based on whether they were liberal or stingy. And we don't use the term stingy a lot when it comes to church folks because, we try to be polite, I think, too much. And I really believe that we ought to be more like Jesus. And when I read, I don't see Jesus trying to be politically correct. He called sin, sin, and wrong, wrong. And he didn't bite his tongue. He called a liar. He didn't say they was, telling nice stories. He said they were liars. And so attacking or boisterous or mean or overly, what should I say, attacking individuals. But I do believe we ought to be truthful, and as the old folks would say, call a spade a spade. you know, I noticed that when you pull punches, um, people take your kindness for weakness, and also they also interpret it as a sanction or approval of their bad behavior. Um, I've been dealing with some medical issues the last few weeks, and I noticed something that every time we, complete a test and the results come back, my doctor doesn't call me to negotiate with me. She calls and tells me what the issue is and what I need to do. She doesn't ask me if that's what I want to do or do I think this is okay. Because why? She's the physician. And my daddy used to say, if you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you to do something, take their advice. That's why you went to the doctor. They went to school for that, not you. And so the same thing applies when it comes to pastoring and ministry. Um, Me personally, I personally put a lot of time in studying, reading, and I don't just read to memorize. I read to discover the answers and to discover the truth. And because I put the time in and the investment of my time, I think it's only right that when I, you know, bring it up, teach it, preach it, I think it's only right that, the hearers uh, be doers and not hearers only, because that's the only way it's going to work for you. And not one time in these last couple of weeks has my doctor, said, even I made mention about something I didn't want to do. And she says, well, you know what? Uh, you may not want to, but this is what I recommend. It's for your good. I'm telling you what it is, and this is, and it gets to that point where you got to start thinking, all right, what is best for me? Is it best for me to listen to God? Is it best for me to hear the servant of God? You know, um, and why do we ask even questions and we don't want to uh, accept with or accept or deal with the answer, especially when we know it's the right answer, but it's not the answer. We've got to make some alterations and changes in our thought and our decision as to what action we were going to take. So now you messed up my whole program. I got to quit. That's basically what it is. It's the psychology of how the mind works. Um, had an interesting question asked to me today, and I'm gonna throw this out there. And I answered the question according to the Bible, and the question was: a man comes home from a long trip, he hasn't been home in over a month, and standing in front of his house is his mother, his wife, his daughter, and his sister. And the question was, which one should he greet first? And the question was thrown out there. Now, according to the Bible, there is an answer. The Bible has an answer for that. And I found that I haven't had a question yet that the Bible didn't have an answer for. But it sure got a question, an answer for that one. Now, one person felt like, well, it should be the mother. They showed the mother first, then the wife, then the daughter, then the sister. And they said, because, you don't disrespect your mother. And then, and Ten Commandments tells you to honor your father and mother, blah, blah, blah. And so I says, well, I'm going to answer for you. I'm going to give you the answer. And then I'm going to give you the first biblical scripture that addresses that. I said, my answer is he should greet his wife first. I says, and according to Genesis 2, for this cause, ought a man leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. They two shall be one flesh. Now, see, before he take a wife, mama is in first position. But once he take a wife, mama's position it goes down because now that wife supersedes. And my mother used to say all the time, she'd say, don't ever side against your spouse, even for your mama. She says, because that's your wife. Y'all got to live together. You got to go home with her. And you got to have peace with your wife. But the point is that the Bible clearly states that a man should leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall be one flesh. That's not disrespecting his mother because he greets his wife first. Because here's the thing: uh, when he gets up in age and things start happening, chances are, if it's by natural law, mama will be already passed on when he be. And if it's not, mama's not going to be physically able to care for him, but generally it's the wife got to care for her spouse, or the husband's got to care for his spouse. Those roles can interchange, but the likelihood, having to depend on mama are diminished greatly, first of all, as age progresses. And the second thing is, if he's one with his wife, I said the greatest relationship and closest relationship you should have is with your spouse. That relationship should never be superseded by another. That's just, my thought on it. And so anyway, that's how I answered the question. And I based it on Genesis chapter 2, and Jesus addressed it in, I think it was Matthew 19 or Matthew 16 and 19, one of those two. But anyway, and that's the other thing. When the scripture has already given us the answer, and sometimes people get tripped up because they did ask the question when I brought up Genesis, because I hadn't thought about that. And then another person said, well, what about the Ten Commandments? Well, the Ten Commandments says to honor your mother and father. And that's not disrespecting your mother because you greet your wife first. No. As long as you don't fail to greet your mama, now mama definitely probably going to be next, and I said, so, you got to understand that progression changes, that dynamic changes quite drastically and immediately. The moment you betroth yourself to someone, your relationship now supersedes any other relationship you have with any other person, including your parents. And as I stated, and that was the one thing, my mother always said that to me. But she's always spoke about, you don't ever side against your spouse. And she was right. Why? Because you are partners. You're one. So why would I go? Matter of fact, the Bible says, if a man that loveth his wife loveth himself. So why would I disrespect myself? See, it doesn't make sense. And that's a whole nother series of study though there. As a matter of fact, we're going to get into that in the relationship enhancement course. All right. So anyway, that's my introduction for tonight. Pastor Samuel is here. Good to see you, sir. How you doing this evening?
Good to be here. I'm doing fantastic.
All right. All right.
Now I'm gonna say one thing.
What's that?
Biblically speaking, yes, you want to greet the wife first, but it better not be a granddaughter there. You're gonna get in trouble. Because grandpa gonna go to the grandbaby every time.
Oh Lord. Well,
he gonna be in trouble with God and with the wife.
and, oh Lord, he said,
I
"I'm
just
going
threw
to
that out there
that."
for levity's sake. But it is pretty common.
Yeah.
I remember when uh, Sabrina and them came back home from Germany, and I picked them up at the airport. And of course, I hadn't seen my grandbaby except on Skype because she was born in Germany. Because her dad's in the military, and so they I saw uh, her walking with them coming toward me to the baggage claim, and I shot right because Alan was behind with her, and Sabrina was up front. I walked right past her, right to my grandbaby.
Uh,
And it was so instinctive. Yeah. So I didn't even think twice about that.
nah.
But yeah, it is true that from the biblical standpoint, it's very clear where your priority land is. You can even interject somewhat the scripture about a man taking care of his own. Because uh, that's your family.
Right.
Now, and I even caution people because they talk about you know women always run into their mom, being at with their mom, but it don't tell the women to leave mother and father. It told the man. So if she wanna call mama every day or confide in mama, whatever she gonna do, that's between them,
Yep. They're gonna do
and
it.
they just let it go. So yeah, I'm all for that for sure. The wife would supersede the mom in every case.
Right. Right. And it is to most of the times the reactions or actions of the wife are actions of reciprocation. In other words, they respond at how they are entreated. So if you want her to consider you, you've got to learn to be considerate of her, because that, what was that song? If you good to her, she'll find 100 ways. So you learn how to do something nice, and she'll find 100 ways to repay you, because that's their nature. They're good at paying back for the good and the bad, and you would rather them want to pay you for the good than the bad. Has definitely had no fury like that of a woman scorned. Yeah. So, yeah, it was an interesting question. Matter of fact, we had an interesting dialogue around that after I answered the question, and I like when I get into those kind of discussions because they're healthy, you know. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't consider that. Uh, I went to a funeral yesterday as well. Interesting thing about funerals is paying attention to people who are talking. And you can always tell who are genuine and who are up saying what they think they should say, you know. And then there's some people who get up and some things they shouldn't say at all. Uh, but, I really believe that there should be a sensitivity training in the church. I remember I was pastoring in North Carolina, and we did a grief counseling training in the church, uh, teaching people how to entreat others who lost loved ones. People don't realize they ask the wrong question, make the wrong comments, and then they say stuff that what I'm looking for. They don't word as you say. But when you call someone who just loses a loved one, especially someone very close to them, and it has been, let's say, a time-consuming and stressful ordeal prior to the passing of that person. The first thing you want to avoid is asking, what happened? How'd they die? Don't make people relive their trauma. Because telling you and repeating to you what happened, their experience, you're causing them more pain. It's like taking your finger and putting it in a bullet hole and twisting your finger around. That's something you should never do, is to cause someone to relive their pain. Don't ask questions like that. And don't bring up, like some people, well, you know what, I know your husband died, but he owed me some money, once you get all your arrangements, if I can talk to you, and, maybe you can, pay your debt off. That's not time for that conversation. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna say this. If someone dies owing you money, the money went with you. Just like the money will go in the casket, the money will come back to you. It ain't going in the casket. You don't see a Brinks truck, armor car following up the casket. You might as well count that as a loss. That's just how it is. Their debts go with them. And the thing is that we should learn, and we talked about money this week, having the right attitude about money too, and giving a certain understanding. And there's another saying my daddy had: if you can't afford to lose it, don't loan it. If you can't afford to not get it back, don't lend it. If you can't afford to lose it, don't invest it. Because everything has a risk. But see, most people don't see that. They say, well, I need my money. I put my okay. That's not always the case. And we have to understand too. Market swings. Even with a business, and you might have a business that you're doing well, you're making money, and things are well. All it takes is for one incident, just one, and it affects your cash flow. That's the end of your profit. Now you're struggling just to stay in business. You're struggling to stay afloat. I was just talking to a business partner before coming on, and we were talking about how, in the construction industry now, it's hard to make money. Material prices are fluctuating. They up, they down, they up, they down. And sometimes you can't. I can quote a price on material, and they'll tell you now, well, we won't have that in stock for 3 months. But 3 months later, when it comes back in stock, the price is 50% increase. And if that was my profit margin, there go the money. So, and when people, and two, when you have businesses that have a low profit margin and they depend on volume of business, to be profitable and successful, all it takes is for one person. Give you an example. I worked for a refrigeration company. I think I told y'all about that. And we would give a warranty on the deep freezers we would build. We had this one guy, every time he'd go on a job, I don't care who we put him with, he would not do quality work. We get the job done, get the unit in, they do the test, get it certified. 3 months later, we got to send somebody back out there to fix it because he didn't do something or didn't use, an adequate part or use a cheap part. And we always told him, use the best parts because this is warranty work. And we don't get paid to go back out. Well, all you got to do is have to send somebody out for a repair one time. You just ate up the profit you made on that refrigerator. That deep freezer now, you paying for it to be there after that, because every time somebody go out there till that warranty is up, you can't charge that customer one dime. And a lot of times workers don't understand that. They don't understand that. You working for someone. It's your business. You know, uh, you're protecting the person who's what paying you. If they don't have work, they can't hire you. They can't hire you. You don't get paid. Yeah, so you can't be on the job being only concerned about your paycheck. You stingy because all you're thinking about is yourself. That's selfish character, selfish nature. We go out and work, and really, I want to say this. I'm gonna pause. Let Pastor Samuel jump in. You're not going to work really for yourself. Let me tell you who I go to work for. Imagine this. I have to tell anybody now that hire me, you got to make sure you make a good offer and pay me well, because I got 3 people interested in me. And, they call me all the time. They ask who it is. I say, the light company, the mortgage company, and the condo people. See, listen, I'm not working for me. I'm working for Vero's Credit, Wells Fargo, PG&E, East Bay Mud, Waste Management. You ain't working for yourself, because everything you have, they bought it, and they letting you use it till you pay for it. And by the time you get to paying for it, it ain't got much value left in it. Oh man. So I ain't really going to work for me. See, Bell's Credit owns my truck. I love my truck. Truck runs good. Just drove to Mississippi and back. Put it in my truck because I got a lien holder on there. I'm just being realistic. They say I'm the registered owner, but there's a lien holder on there. Who what? At any time I miss a payment, they can come get it. They can come lean on me. So, and and PG&E is interested in me, and y'all know what I'm talking about. So here's a message for all you young folks that's in a rush to get out on your own. Ask somebody, let's say, go ask anybody 35 and up. So how you want to hurry up, get out your house and be on your own. Ask them, how's that working out? All right, Pastor Samuel.
Wow, that's so true. Um, I say, man, if I could turn back the clock, move back in with mom and daddy,
Woo,
Lord have mercy. Because
that'd be the
even
best
now,
job.
when your children come back home, you're saying, you know, I couldn't have done that. But now I'm saying, no, that's not that's a pretty smart idea.
Hey,
You definitely. Uh, I told you I've been telling folks that have been begging me for money. They say I got 10 kids, and that would stop them in their tracks. But no, yeah, it's a whole different scenario going on now.
yep,
But you were talking earlier though about giving, and so that's one of the things I'm passionate about is giving. I love to give, especially to the work of the ministry, and oftentimes, which I think is for me at least is good, and and because I believe that God honors it. I get frustrated sometimes when I can't give at the level that I want to give, and so I think that's why I'm so blessed because He knows that I'm that I have that desire. So He have to bless me so that I could be able to give. I especially when like you have ministries that have helped you along the way. Yeah, because I'm on the other end. A lot of times people come and we help them and we help them, and those are the ones that very rarely do they come back and ever even say thank you. Um, so if I'm remembering about an incident or something that I happen to be at a ministry and they did something nice for me or nice for somebody that I know even let me but especially now it's so easy to pick up my phone, find their cash app, and, or their Givelify account or whatever and send them something. So you know I'm love I love that aspect of the whole thing. But and I have I tell anybody that want to listen. I remember back in 2002 when I got laid off from Sony, and I was making some real good money at Sony. I mean, because I wanted to quit, and my wife wouldn't let me. But then I got laid off, and which so in essence, it was good that she wouldn't let me quit because then I got my severance package. So, but I went 2 years trying to find work, 2 whole years, couldn't find work, and I remember my neighbor came to me. We was outside, and we was just talking. He said, "Man, you ain't pulling your hair out. You ain't going." I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Well, you ain't worked in a long time, and I don't see you getting." I said, "Man," he said, "How do you do it?" I said, "Tithes and offering." And he looked at me. I said, "God owe me," in so many words. I didn't say it like that, or that direct. I just tell him. I said, "You reap what you sow." I believe in
Right.
that. I said, so I've sold, and so now I say, so God's been taking care of me these 2 years, and whenever He deems appropriate, I'll be working again. Then of course I decided to start my own business and restart one and then start a second, so that I have another revenue stream. But uh, that's the only thing I can tell anybody. They want to know how to be blessed. You got to give. I know another well prominent minister. If I called his name, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. And even now, you probably figured out. But I see him giving all the time. But he's also receiving.
Yep. He's very blessed.
Yeah. So it's just the thing that we do, and sometimes uh you can even when you don't have the because of course we have to be good stewards. I think you mentioned during the class about them asking you for your rent money and all that stuff like that. See, that's not biblical.
Right. It's not
No,
at all.
because see, you owe that man or woman or a person, whoever you sign that contract with, you have an obligation to them first.
That's right.
So you need to take care of that. Now, uh, if the now it's different from when they challenge you. But if God challenged you and you know it's God, my sheep know my voice, then you won't lose if you take a leap of faith. But you better make sure. Because how many times you heard the preacher say, "And the Lord don't bless you in 7 days. You can call me." Yeah. I bet you calling me.
He don't answer the phone. He gave you a
You'll
phone.
get a disconnected number or something.
This number is no longer in service.
Yeah, but people don't ever. Of course, people they know they say that because people don't never take them up on that offer. They can always use the caveat. Well, you didn't meet the conditions.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely a proponent of giving. You know, reaping what you sow. If you and you know how many people or how many organizations, even their uh, corporate cultures, all that are based on that
Oh yeah.
concept.
Yep.
And you know they'll give it another name, they'll give it another twist, but it's the same thing. You know, you think about merit-based pay and all that stuff like that. You know, so it's all a lot of it is it just and it's common sense really. If
Yep.
you put
Yep.
in, you get out. How many people did we know growing up who were superstar athletes should have made it to the league, but never did because they didn't put the work in. And you had somebody that came along that wasn't that talented, but they put in the work and they ended up becoming stars. You know, because one was just relying on the natural talent, the other one was taking that natural talent and wasn't burying it.
Right.
You know, he was putting it on exchange. So
On
all
exchange.
that
Yep.
is necessary.
Yep. Well, you watch, like you say, even your great players. Uh, I used to have the poster up in my office about how many free throws Michael Jordan missed and how many last second shots in games that he missed, and how many game clinchers he didn't make, and but he's always, and they talk about him and Curry. They say the one thing about those two guys, everybody that talks about them says you always see them working on their game. Michael Jordan be the first one at the gym and the last one to leave. Curry's the first one to show up for practice and the last one to leave. And it says he shoots them threes because that's all he does. He's constantly hitting, making those shots, and he's practicing, working on it. And one of the young guys said, he says, the one thing he enjoys about being on the Warriors is seeing Curry's work ethic and how it rubs off on the other team members. Here he's got these guys that they didn't give a chance. Matter of fact, they predicted they were going to be last in the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
And where are they? Matter of fact, they're doing a whole lot better than the people they thought was going to be first. And it's because work ethic, learning to work together. One of the companies, the third or no, the number one largest advertising agency that's black owned, and it's the number 3 advertising agency in the world it's black owned. The whole concept of his business structure is based on the book of Proverbs. He was a Sunday school teacher in Chicago, and he tells his story. I had his book. I don't know what I did with it. But the guy says how he would read for years, every month that had 31 days, he would read a chapter of Proverbs. At the end of that, he wrote a business plan based upon the principles of Proverbs and founded his advertising agency on the principles of Proverbs. That wisdom had propelled him within a couple of years the number one black owned advertising agency and the number 3 worldwide. Now you can't do that just doing stuff haphazardly. And when you use these principles, and remember, they are principles, not promises. They are
Mm-hmm.
what? Sensible how one should approach life. And I'm a witness, one of my business partners, he said today, he said, "Man, I noticed you don't ever worry because God always take care of you." I said, "Because I trust Him, I believe in Him, And I really learned what Romans 8:28 really meant.
Mm.
All things work together for good. Now, in a conversation with the doctor, it came up. These symptoms I actually had before I went to Mississippi, and I just didn't pay attention to it. It was exacerbated. There don't want them words there. It was exacerbated by the fact that I worked them 2 days, pulling out all that sheetrock, putting it back up without a mask on. And I'm thinking that's what caused this. Well, she said yesterday in our conversation, she said, Mr. Dacus, I understand now and know the sheetrock wasn't the problem. I said, no, doc. I said, because I figured it out the other day. The sheetrock was the blessing that caused me to finally go to the doctor. I ain't been to the doctor in almost 20 years. But they forced me to have to go to the doctor. I'd have never discovered the problems I'm having that are correctable. Now, see, here's the blessing. They are issues that can be corrected and reversed. But what if I'd have kept doing what I was doing without, going to the doctor, or without knowing I had these issues? I could have brought something very seriously on my body for what? Not taking care of my health. And so I'm not upset or even sad about some of the stuff that they've been telling me. I just said, oh, that was a blessing. Now we can fix this. That's how I feel about it. It's like I had something wrong with my truck, and I had to go check it out, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And when I put the diagnostic machine on it and found out what was really wrong, I was able to fix it. Check engine light went off. And the guy told me, he said, you know what? If you'd have kept driving that with that condition, it would have eventually, you'd end up buying another engine again. Well, see, we got to start looking at how we're blessed, because he says this: the wise and the righteous are blessed, and they benefit from the blessings of God because of what? Because of their living righteously and applying wise principles. With the wisdom of life, that's what I call Proverbs, the wisdom of life. It addresses every aspect of your living, and it gives you those, what they used to call nuggets. It gives you a lot of golden nuggets about how to make good decisions and how to deal with people in certain problems that you may arise, and it causes you to have a more positive view on life.
Froze up.
Yep, froze up for a minute, came back. But there are uncontrollable life situations. I don't control certain things. But if I'm prepared for it, when it happens, it won't knock me off my feet. I can just keep moving, roll with, as they say, roll with the punches and keep going. But there are too many people who fall down or quit. But he says, you shall reap if you faint not. So we need to stand up and prepare for these kind of situations. And even when stuff comes on us that we're not prepared for, deal with it. I was, and I'm kind of a hard-headed when it comes to some of this stuff, and I was kind of, concerned about, well, I done promised one of my brothers I'm gonna help get his house done, and I'm gonna have it done by Thanksgiving. And I don't like people calling me a liar if I don't do something. But he caught me that day I was at his house. I was supposed to have been going to the doctor that day. And somehow in conversation, I let it out. And he said, well, what you doing here? I said, because, bro, I told you I was going to have your place finished. I think he said, bro, if you dead, on none of this get done anyway. He said, man, you got to take care of yourself. He said, so you need to go to the doctor tomorrow. I said, yeah, I got an appointment tomorrow, but I was going to try to reschedule it. No, bro, you don't come back here till you get your health in order. Don't worry about us. We're gonna be around. You my bro. I need you around here. So take care of yourself. Now, and you got to understand, sometimes, we let what we think other people are thinking. He didn't know how much he blessed me and released me, because I was pushing myself for a few days, going, being tired, exhausted, and I wouldn't let on how tired I was. But we got to be realistic about stuff. And the fact that I finally humbled myself and went to the doctor, all the stuff that's, and so what I've done, like this week, I've been to the hospital Tuesday, Wednesday, I had phone consultation Thursday, I went today, and each time I'm going in there, they doing something. They either taking blood or taking the x-ray, or today they pumped me up with that, I think they said it was iodine or some liquid, and put me in a machine, took all these pictures, and now I got to drink water for today and tomorrow. They said to flush it all out my system, but they discovered some other stuff. And I'm like, and I was telling my wife, she go, "Oh, your doctor just fickle." I said, "No, she's not fickle." I said, "What it is she's adjusting the medications and the treatment based on the new information she's finding." She says, "Now this is an indication that it could be this, but let's just go ahead and check." I said, "I don't have no, as long as I don't have a problem with it, that's okay." The only thing I had a problem with today was my copay's only been $10, but today I walked in there to get that iodine, and the lady said my copay was $200. Sam, my eyes got big. I say, "I don't have $200 in the bank." The lady said, "Oh, don't worry about it, Mr. Dickens. We just gonna bill it. We gonna bill it." I said, "Yeah, bill it, cuz." Ain't nothing I can do about it right now. Hey, but it's having that positive attitude and having that spirit of liberality where you're giving, and even of your time. Sometimes as preachers, and I have noticed this from I have had the experience and privilege to hang around a lot of pretty well-known preachers. I'm not a name dropper, so I'm not going to drop them now, but I know some very prominent people. So much so, when they see me in public and see me before I see them, they call my name out. But let me tell you something. I've learned that I got to be me. I can't be everybody else. I go a lot of places and do a lot of things and preach a lot of places and don't get a dime, because I'm not preaching for the money. But I guarantee you this, God always sees me through. It's not about, you chase the money. Matter of fact, if that's your motivation, you'll sell out. Your motivation should be to preach and teach the gospel and to win souls. One of the things they said about the lady that passed away at the funeral yesterday was she always had tracks on her. And even when she would go walking with her niece, and her niece is the first lady, she would tell her, "Bring your tracks. We're going to run into somebody that need to know about Jesus. So don't come to go on the walk without your tracks." And she said every time, and they walk 2 or 3 times a week. She said, but every time they walk that trail, they run into somebody, and they would introduce them to Jesus. What are we doing with this Jesus, and all of this wisdom that God has for us, and this knowledge that he's dropping on us? What are we doing with it? Are we really serving him to the measure that we are honoring God in the way he should be honored? I believe we do God an injustice when we don't tell others. I'm asking God to open some doors because I think I really want to get back to what we used to call revival, and not for money, but for souls. Tell people, bring the unsaved to service. Bring the people who don't know nothing about Jesus. Invite them, and then preach the gospel that's for the sinner. You see, now I'm gonna ask a question, Pastor Samuel. Is there a different message that we should preach to the sinner as opposed to the one who think they already saved?
Of course.
Yeah. And so
J-
when
uh,
we,
John preached a different message than Jesus.
thank you.
He was the forerunner. He was preaching a entirely different message. And then when Jesus came, he took it to the next level.
Yep. And we should be preaching for the sinner and the saint. And more people were saved when we talked about, now they call it, the hellfire and brimstone messages, but more people were being drawn to the Lord then than they are now. When how often do we even use the word hell in the service, in the message, in witnessing? Now there is a hell. Oh yeah. But now the people that go door to door that's famous for that, Jehovah's Witnesses, they just talk about heaven and paradise. That's all they talk about. But they tell you it's only 144,000 gonna make it. I asked them one time, well, what's gonna happen to the rest of the people? Y'all claim it ain't but 144,000 gonna make it. Well, what's gonna happen to the rest of the people? So yeah, I really am. I really am praying God to open some doors for revival. Because the saints need reviving too. Oh yeah, the saints need reviving too. And that's what we used to see in the revivals. It wasn't just the sinners, the saints were being revived too. Because at the end of the revival, oh man, the church be on fire again. I don't know what happened to the fire. They quit throwing wood on there, so there's some fire. Oh, we got radiant heat now. They plug up.
Yeah.
All right, Pastor Samuel.
Different focus.
That's what it is, a different focus.
It's a different focus.
Yeah. Yep. So just pray for the church and continue to pray for the preachers. And I really believe that there is still much work to be done. And I guess I kind of laughed yesterday because at the service, the pastor names, and he looked right at me. And there were 3 pastors behind me. He called all their names. They were sitting right behind me. And he didn't call my name. And I leaned over to my wife. I said, well, I guess they think I don't pastor anymore. I said, but as long as you're doing the work, you don't need to be recognized by people. And for whatever reason why they don't, they discount you, you can't worry about that kind of stuff. I mean, I heard so much stuff over the last several weeks, in regards to me, and my stand with certain individuals or with certain family or certain this and that. And y'all know what? I told one of them, I said, let me tell you something. As long as me and God know, it don't matter what nobody else think. I said, one of the comments made, I said, I've been in the family longer than they've been born, so I don't know why. Sam, I said, I don't even know why. Don't even get yourself upset about that.
I told him the same thing.
So, listen, I had too much love and I got too much compassion for my family to worry about other people's thoughts and what they think. Even when my kids get mad at me, my children have gotten upset with me. I still love them. I tell them I'm still your daddy, and I still love you. You may not like, what I said, or may not like my position, but one thing about it, you can't say. And I said this to him. I said, one thing you can't say: you never missed me loving you and looking out for you. So I don't care how you feel, it's not gonna change. I'm gonna do me and be me. Solomon, he says, blessed is the man whose quiver is full. Listen, as long as we guide them and instruct them, we shouldn't even get upset about them making wrong choices, because we made wrong choices. There's some things I did I would never tell anybody because I ain't proud of it. And, some things I was saying for my mama to even find out, you know. And I remember one time they brought me home from a party. I was so drunk, they dragged me down the driveway to my apartment I done built in the garage behind my parents' house. And all the thing I kept saying all the way down the driveway, don't let my mama see you this way. Don't let my mama see you this way. Shit. Yeah, why could I get upset with anybody about mistakes when I made them?
Right.
And and I think sometimes we are not understanding enough. This generation has had it tough for a couple reasons. We taught them about Jesus, but we did not example godly living in front of them. And when I say that, because in this era has been more guilty of violating holy living in front of the children, and they did stuff they thought they was keeping in the hush hush and I, but it's like it looks, if you doing it, somebody know about it. If somebody know about it, they tell it, and you ain't hiding nothing, so you're not getting away with anything. And because of that, we cause the confusion in our youth. So the generation today, the millennials, are struggling because they want to live holy and live for God, but they are conflicted because they've seen too many bad examples and have been victims of individuals who do the right thing. So we got a lot of work in front of us, but I pray that God keep us around long enough to at least make a difference. And let's get some folks saved, because they need to know about this wisdom of life. But they first got to find out about Jesus, and then we can teach them some stuff. All right, that's it for me for this evening. Any comments, Pastor Samuel?
No, sir. Enjoyed you as always, and looking forward to seeing what else we're going to hear on the next week. Praying for your internet connection.
Yeah. Lucio.
Yeah. So, and thanking God for all those that are tuned in to support the moment of truth. We do appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. So, what Sunday? Your announcement for Sunday?
Well, this Sunday, as always, you can uh, find us on Zoom. And hey, Bishop.
Hey.
And we'll be teaching the youth Sunday school at 10:15, and then morning worship starts at 11. And we're looking forward to seeing you there.
All right. So tomorrow, Bishop Elsie is out of town, but tomorrow I will be over at Pastor Robinson's doing his Saturday 11 a.m. Bible study. Hopefully, he'll be able to log in on his StreamYard so we can stream it to his page. But we will be on there tomorrow at 11 a.m. You're in Proverbs 3?
Proverbs 3, verse 1.
Okay, so we'll be in Proverbs 3, verse 1 tomorrow. And then on Sunday morning, we will be at 10810 Bancroft in Oakland, California. Sunday school at 9:45, and service will start promptly at 10:45.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining. We had a good time. Looked like Bishop and them have finally made it to their resting spot for the night.
Yeah.
I hear his
It took a while.
I hear his fellas is back there.
That's what kept me a long time to get on, trying to get them settled down. Settle down.
Yeah. So we're going to say to you all, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. God loves you and I love you. Ain't a thing you can do about it. So you go and be blessed in the name of the Lord Jesus. Hang on, Bishop. Don't hang up.